who's going to finish in the AP poll that maybe wasn't in the preseason poll? Like, who's going to go from unranked to ranked? And from what I can gauge now, that threshold of what you need to achieve to be in the AP poll at the end of the year is right around 8-4. So we're going to call our shot here and tell you who I believe wasn't ranked yesterday but will be ranked at the end of the season. College football sickos, make sure you're locked in right here to the On3 YouTube channel. The best way to do that, by making sure you've hit that subscribe button for us. We appreciate you for doing that. Week 0 is here. That means college football is here. Let's lock in. Let's have a great college football season. We appreciate y'all for being subscribed and dialed in to the nth degree. We talked about Auburn already, man, but I think Auburn's going to be there. I really do. Like, I think it's all coming together very quickly. I think their roster is too good, and the progress they've made under a year 2 Hugh Freeze system, like organizationally, operationally, culturally, all those things, I think, is going to get them over the hump in some situations last year where, like, they just didn't look like maybe they were playing to their potential. And last year, even with not playing to their potential, they had several games where you look at and you say, okay, like, just how you talk about a dog or a puppy, rather, having big paws, it's going to grow into something special. Like, that was Auburn last year. They had big paws. A lot of big pause moments. The Georgia game, the Alabama game, we've beat to death on this show. But you look at the games where, like, they looked just like they were close but no cigar kind of situation. Took their eye off the ball situation. I don't think you'll see that in year 2 under Hugh Freeze. Like, I don't think you'll see a special teams blunder at the end of the game against Alabama or in whatever situation they find themselves in. I don't think you'll see them just sleepwalk and, for whatever reason, be out-schemed against a New Mexico State. It's not going to happen. So for those reasons and for all the talent they have and the progress I think you'll see from Peyton Thorne in 2024, I think Auburn will be ranked in the final AP poll. The big swing games for them are Oklahoma, obviously, at Missouri, at Kentucky. If you can go 2-1 in that stretch, I think you'll be ranked. And then obviously if you win your bowl game, that helps a whole heck of a lot, but I think that's good enough for Auburn to be ranked in that final AP poll. Now, Nebraska is a team that we are very high on. We make no apologies for that. We're trusting the trend of what Matt Rule has done pretty much everywhere he's been in the collegiate ranks, from Temple to Baylor and out in Nebraska. Those close losses from previous seasons, it's not going to translate. And if you're a Nebraska fan, you're like, don't tell me that. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I don't want to hear it. I come in peace. I'm just telling you now. This team will be a Matt Rule team in year 2. I fully believe that. Last year, they were a team coached by Matt Rule. I do not believe that was a team that had Matt Rule DNA a part of the roster. And what I mean by that is details, process-oriented, all those things. There's a social clip floating around on Twitter right now that got me fired up, and it's Matt Rule talking to his guys during the scrimmage and stops it mid-scrimmage with people, out in the stadium, and it's like kind of this big event, and he stops the practice, brings everybody in, and he says, we are not playing winning football right now. I'm paraphrasing, that's what he said. He's like, we have a crowd in front of us, and we want to act a certain way. Like, we are not playing to our standard right now. He's like, let's lock the heck in. This is why we lose when we do things like this. And so to have that awareness and to be able to communicate that to his team in real time, a lot of coaches would have waited till the end of the practice. A lot of coaches would have just ripped them in film or in the team room. Like, Matt Rule, I believe wholeheartedly, has set that temperature to where it needs to be. And I think they have a roster good enough to achieve that 8-4 mark. The defense is obvious, right? The defense is going to be really good. Wholeheartedly believe that. Bring back 70+% production from one of the best units in America last year. Offensively, we talk about Dylan Raiola. Look at this receiver group. Jamal Banks, transferred from Wake Forest, led Wake Forest in receiving last year. He's now on the roster. Isaiah Nayor tore up Wyoming before going to Texas. Didn't work out at Texas. Still a really talented receiver. Jalen Lloyd is also a super talented receiver they have. He blew up during the spring game. Super explosive. I'd watch him. I'm just saying now. They got more firepower than I think they've had previously in that pass catcher room. Keep an eye on that. So Nebraska, I think, will be ranked at the end of the college football season. Now, Wisconsin, man, and y'all that have watched this show, you know that I'm high on Wisconsin. I am. Was high on Wisconsin last year. Got burned. That's okay, man, because as Michael Scott would say, there's no doubt about it, I'm ready to get hurt again. And that's how I feel this year. Death, taxes, Luke Fickell coaching winning football. Luke Fickell has won less than 8 games during his college coaching career as a head coach. 3 different seasons. All 3 of those seasons, it was his first year on the job. Coincidence? I think not. All right, so no Ohio State, no Michigan on the schedule. They get Oregon at home. Defense brings back 70% production. That running back room still has studs in it. If they can just kind of clean up the year 1 errors they had last season and be able to stay healthy at quarterback, whoever it ends up being, that can run Phil Longo's system, full transparency, I think it'll be Tyler Van Dyke. They're going to have a chance. So I'm not telling you Wisconsin's going to win the Big Ten, but I do think Wisconsin's going to be one of those teams that we sit there at the end of the season, check out the final AP poll. We say, oh, yeah, look at that big red W in there. That'll be Wisconsin. Last team for you, Virginia Tech. Continuity, momentum, plus a dude at quarterback. Usually things work out okay for those teams, Like usually that's a winning formula of sorts. They are number 1 in America in returning production. They won 5 of their last 7 in 2023. That's momentum. That also equates to belief. Like guys that were on last year's roster finished the way they did. They're like, okay, so that's how it's done. Oh, so that's how you do it. Okay, good to know. We can do that. You got a guy at quarterback, man, that's 6'2", 235 pounds, and Kyron Drones. Absolute wagon of a human being. Good luck tackling him. He also finished the season really strong. We've talked about their schedule a lot. Like they're at Miami, but it's on a Friday. Weird things happen on a Friday. I'm just going to leave it at that. Clemson, they come to you in November. No Florida State, no NC State. I got them at 9-3. That will be more than good enough to be ranked. Now, Brent Pry said multiple times they have their sights set on winning the ACC. Like that is their standard. That is their goal, more or less, is going to the ACC title game. He said that. Kyron Drones has said that. It's very clear. They are raising the standard internally in Blacksburg. And to go somewhere, you first have to set your sights on it. And even if they don't make the ACC title game, to have that as where they are competitively aspiring to be, not that every team doesn't aspire to win the conference title game, but it's one thing to say it out loud. It's another thing to say it out loud and have some real validity and meaning behind it. I think that's Va-Tech. So I think they're ranked at the end of the year. I think Auburn's ranked at the end of the year. I think Nebraska's ranked at the end of the year, and I think Wisconsin's ranked at the end of the season. So let me know who we missed, who you think should be in the AP poll at the end of the season. Full transparency, I don't have a major issue with any of these teams being left out. I think you could make a case for Nebraska and Va-Tech being in the top 25 preseason. I get why they're not. But at the end of the year, man, all 4 of those teams, I believe, will be in that final top 25. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.